She said she will make it through this.
She was always there and always very supportive to Nancy and caring, and did whatever she could to be there with us.
Olivia did her best to keep Colette's mind off of her illness.
She was in the hospital. She was singing to her. She was so wonderful. She gifted her a trip to Orlando, Florida. I'll never forget. She said, "We're going to Disney World, girls," and off we went.
She was very weak, and so she had to go everywhere in a wheelchair at that point. But was amazingly brave and wanted to do everything.
Little Colette was going through her chemotherapy. She had no hair on her head, and it was very hard for her to jump into a swimming pool with all these other kids looking at her, and Olivia would swim with her, and we'd play dolphin or mermaid.
It was really her last trip, and amazing because she had so much courage. This little girl had so much courage.
Just 9 months after her diagnosis, Colette Chuda lost her battle with cancer. She was 5 years old.
Olivia was there for me and Jim every step of the way, and I think that they had a very unique bond as godmother and daughter. She was always there for us and still is.
It's even too emotional for me to talk about because it was the unbelievable happens. To lose a child, I think, is the most terrible tragedy that can happen to anybody. You're not supposed to outlive your children, especially not a little girl like that.
Olivia, Nancy, and Jim decided they couldn't let the memory of Colette fade away.
So we founded the Colette Chuda Environmental Fund in 1990, which researches the causes of childhood cancers in relationship to the environment.
From the beginning, she obviously really supported us in the activity and was able to encourage us a lot, and really became our spokesperson.
They have devoted the last 9 years to this. I really have great respect for them because out of this incredible tragedy, they've created something really important for everybody else's children.
Coming up on Celebrity Profile.
That word has such a connotation, people think it's a death sentence.
3-year-old Olivia Newton-John returned to the recording studio. Back to Basics was released and featured both old and new songs. To support the album, Olivia rehearsed to go on the road, but her plans were about to change.
I had been checking myself pretty regularly because I had lumps before, but this particular time and this particular lump, I felt something was wrong, and went and had a mammogram. Went to the doctor, and the mammogram showed nothing.
Olivia trusted her instincts and returned to her doctor.
I had a needle biopsy and it was negative again, but my doctor and myself believed that there was something wrong, so he insisted that I had a biopsy, and I'm very happy that he did because it was hiding. The cancer was lurking at the back and wouldn't have been discovered had I not had that biopsy.
The devastating news that she had a malignant lump in her breast came just days after Olivia's beloved father, Brinley, died of cancer in July 1992.
It was totally shocking to have gone through the loss of a child and to discover a year later that my best friend was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was so shocking and yet not real. How could this happen?
She was away for the weekend with Matt, and her assistant had found out from the doctor because they really needed her to come back and had decided not to tell her.
It was an unbelievably tough situation that happened. We all went for a holiday up to Friday Harbour, and when we arrived, Matt was there, and he was going to have to break the news that she'd been diagnosed with breast cancer and her father had died, all at the same time.
And that's pretty scary when someone tells you you have cancer, because that word has such a connotation. You just think cancer, I could die. It's very frightening.
Olivia quickly canceled a scheduled 16-city tour and checked into Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. She underwent a procedure called a modified radical mastectomy to remove her right breast.
I made a decision early on that I would be okay, even though I went through some terrified moments and some nights of terror where you just can't move because you just don't know what to expect.
The situation was serious, but Olivia remained in high spirits.
I had to go see the surgeon. He's doing this and oh yes, we'll do this and we'll do that. And I was making jokes. I'm sure he thought I was totally nuts. But anyway, it was good for me.
Going through the chemotherapy, going through the surgery. But Olivia was so strong and so valiant in her ability to see through her cancer.
You could only laugh. That was the only place to go. And it was really healing because you have to find humor in every situation. That for me is the way to survive anyway. And that was important.
Doctors declared the surgery a success. Olivia and her family returned to Australia to heal. Olivia and Matt made a difficult decision when it came to their 6-year-old daughter, Chloe.
I had to deal with the fact I had a young child who had just lost her best friend to cancer. So I didn't tell Chloe. I made the decision and I told everybody else that that word was not to be used because to her, cancer means you died. So we never said that word.
She had to muster the strength for Chloe. She had to prove to Chloe that not everybody that gets cancer dies.
Despite Olivia's best efforts, Chloe found out about Olivia's cancer.
So some kid at school came up to her and said, your mummy had cancer or has cancer. And she came running home from school, all terribly, terribly upset, and said, you know, one of the kids at school told her that I had cancer, and so I told her that, yes, I had, but that I was fine, and the reason I hadn't told her because I didn't want her to be worried. And the sweetest thing she said to me was that she was angry with me because she could have taken care of me. And that was just so beautiful.
Coming face to face with her own mortality was a life-changing experience for Olivia.
I think it's made me a much stronger person. I think it's made me unafraid of death, or much less afraid of death, because I've had to really look at it already and go through the possibilities of what if that was to be the case.
She has always said to me personally, and I think she's admitted this publicly, that for her, her breast cancer was a gift.
She says so too. One of the best things that ever happened to her, as far as really spiritually more than anything, I think really seeing her life in a whole different way.
Olivia emerged from her ordeal with a renewed fervor.
Not just, you know, the stardom, but as a human being, it's the fragility of being human, and that life can be stopped at any time, and how lucky she was to survive it.
And she was amazing. She was so incredible in the way she just took a hold of it, put it to use, and gave that purpose to other people.
Olivia went back into the recording studio after a 2-year hiatus and recorded Gaia. The album was released in Australia in 1994 and featured a very personal selection of songs reflecting Olivia's new outlook. With Olivia's recovery also came the realization that there were insurmountable differences between Olivia and her husband. In 1995, Olivia announced that she and Matt Lattanzi were divorcing after 10 years of marriage. The two had simply grown apart.
I can't say that it surprised me. I think that, in all honesty, I think it was somewhat inevitable.
The split was amicable. Matt and Olivia agreed to joint custody of their daughter, Chloe.
We're good friends, and he's a good father to Chloe, and we share the raising of her, and that's wonderful.
Olivia has been able to work through that divorce, unlike a lot of other wives and husbands who sort of end and there's bitterness and, you know, and what have you, or resentment. But Olivia has risen above that, and she has chosen to hope for harmony for Chloe's sake.
Coming up, Olivia is still the one they want.
It's giving me a whole other story. Hard to believe then, I think.
In 1997, to help raise awareness for breast cancer survivors, Olivia Newton-John guest starred on Murphy Brown playing herself.
Good. $8.50. But nobody knows better than you that you've got to beat breast cancer one day at a time.
You have that right. 900.
Oh, now you're just throwing that grease money around.
Then in 1998, Olivia Newton-John was in the spotlight once again. This time it was for a Grease reunion celebrating the film's 20th anniversary.
Every year a new bunch of little kids find that movie, and I have 7- and 8-year-olds who come to my concerts because they want to see the Grease songs. You know, they don't know that I had a career before that, or that I had one after, or that I'm a singer. They just know me as Sandy, and it's really quite bizarre. It's all right now, but as John said, in 10 years it's going to be Sandy in love. Yes, I'm Sandy. It's going to be a whole other story. Hard to believe then, I think, anyway.
Olivia's not ready to call it quits just yet. In fact, she may be looking for a new performing partner. It seems daughter Chloe is destined to follow in Olivia's footsteps.
Chloe has her gift. Chloe can sing. So I'm always saying to her, you know what? That's your retirement.
And she's been singing and dancing and performing since I can remember.
Olivia has sold more than 50 million albums worldwide and won countless awards. Despite the accolades, Olivia remains grounded thanks to her family and close friends.
So natural and so down to earth and so not like a celebrity. It was almost shocking. And I think that's part of Olivia's gift, is that although she has such fame and acclaim worldwide, she is so kind and so wonderful and so generous and so dear.
And she had lived a very international, jet-setting kind of life with all her traveling and performing, and all of a sudden, there was nothing more important than to wake up and see her daughter and to be there for her.
There's a lot of stars that, I call it the one-hit record, 6 bodyguard syndrome, right? Olivia, 6 hit records, no bodyguards. She just is, you know, she's a hanger. I mean, she never, ever, ever played the superstar role, at least not around me.
Blessed with extraordinary talent and remarkable courage, Olivia Newton-John has earned the respect of fans and peers alike.
You know, Olivia's Olivia. She's finally found herself. She's in her own shoes. She knows what she wants out of life.
When you say Olivia, there is no other Olivia that I know of.
I think she could pretty much do anything she likes, you know.
Well, Livy has always been a survivor.
She's so talented, and she's got, you know, unlimited energy and fun, and she's the greatest.
What would I like to see for her? Just to be happy, just to continue to be well.
Just life is a gift and enjoy every day, I think, is my motto.
You have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your aim ever stray. And if I